Hello, Eric Walzakowski here, CEO of Bespoke Partners and host of Tailored Talent. Today, I'm joined by two of our product and tech leaders, Ryan Bonner, our partner in the product and tech practice, leading the overall effort, and his colleague, Haley Mundy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Eric. Good to see you.
Great. What I was hoping to do today is catch up with you all on trends around product and tech hires, what you're seeing in the executive market. And I think it's important to kind of paint the lens of what's going on in the broader industry. And of course, what we're seeing right now is tight talent market, as it always is around private equity firms that want that top 1%. But what I think is putting added pressure on there is a lack of exits that create that natural churn. And what I think we're even finding more in the market right now is, well, exits or acquisition talk is actually starting to come back. And so not only are we not getting that natural churn, but there's that hope that an exit's going to happen, which is making it harder and harder to pull people out of seats, which is once again compressing the labor market even more. But guys, what are you seeing around product and tech and the trends with executives today and what's in demand?
Yeah, you've hit on a really good point, Eric, that the market is tight. The compensations are still high. People are locked in many cases, but we're still seeing a big push for our clients on the PE side and the portfolio side, making a really strong push to up-level their technology leadership at the chief product officer level and the chief technology officer level, in that they're looking for growth, they're looking for stability, they're looking for innovation. Of course, every opportunity is a little bit different in what is in the remit, but the general theme is that they've got to be able to have product and technology solutions that are going to either capture new markets or steal market share in their desired industry.
Yeah, and we've seen this year in terms of the mix between product and technology, more of a slant towards CTO searches rather than product. And I think some of that points to the market that we've seen over the past year being still somewhat locked up. More of the focus is on really rationalizing the product portfolio that they have, making sure the acquisitions that these portcos have made over the past couple of years are truly integrated very successfully. And that's really where a CTO is going to come in as that with their main strength rather than a product leader.
That makes a lot of sense. Ryan, you mentioned that compensation is up. I mean, what are we talking about? Is it double right now, or what are you seeing in terms of compensation being up?
It's you and I have talked with this on many occasions, Eric, that 2023 saw a bit of softening in the hiring market across several different functions. CTO and CPO were not functions that sort of slowed down, even with a notable reduction in M&A. Compensation is up, and the right CPO for the right opportunity, the right CTO and the right opportunity, they're going to have multiple opportunities. So while the actual labor market may not show dramatic increases in compensation, at the top tier of leadership, they're benchmarking against where they are today, plus what the other opportunities are bringing them. So it's a market effect for competition of tight, great talent, as much as the sort of overall lifting of all boats. It's going after those top leaders that are commanding nice bases and bonuses, even with the big potential of a wealth creation event a year or two down the road. People don't have to take a haircut on cash to go after the big event.
No, absolutely. And I think the other thing to point out is that we're heading into the second half of the year. Folks have earned over half their bonus this year, which is also putting pressure on people's willingness to make a move. And we're obviously having to use all the tools in our bag to create creative structures to get folks out of seat and help them. Haley, you mentioned a focus right now on CTOs, technology, tech rationalization or optimization. Talk to me a little bit more about the skill sets that are in demand as we think about tech officers.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients coming to us that, over the past few years, they've made a handful of tuck-in acquisitions, and they're really looking for a CTO who has that M&A experience, and not only has integrated those companies successfully, but really has the full end-to-end M&A experience, everything from the diligence of targets that they're going after all the way through to the integration of both the technology and the teams. So the M&A aspect has risen very high on our scorecard for most of our clients in terms of priority.
Makes a lot of sense. And Ryan, you mentioned the product roles. What are you seeing right now in terms of trends of what folks are looking at in product officers?
The ability to identify new opportunities to either steal market share or build new markets. And the build new markets is particularly relevant lately. Haley and I have been called into meetings with our clients looking for a chief product officer that can really identify a unmet need. Can go find a vertical, a group of customers that the current platform is a good base to add new capabilities onto it and actually shift in industries and add new industry capabilities. And so, when you look at a chief product officer, typically you'll find one of two types: the person that comes up with a technology background or the person that comes up with a more commercial background. And when you're looking at somebody to find new markets, this feels almost like a general manager. It feels like somebody who's going to understand how to build a market as much as lay out the roadmap of new capabilities that are going to help them get into the market. So that muscle is really important lately. Is not just, hey, here's a great roadmap, partner with the CTO and bring it to life, but really build it, really understand that customer base, really understand the nuances of competition in that space, and create a roadmap that differentiates. And so that's a key lead. It doesn't mean that the product officer with the technical background isn't important. We see that a lot as well, but lately we've seen this heavy lean towards a commercial CPO.
No, absolutely. And what's really cool is we often talk about that type of thought process. The chief marketing officer role, chief people officer role, to me, is a leading indicator that people are starting to look at the future again. How do we make things happen? How do we grow? And so it's a great sign to see, of course. What's fascinating to me is we talk about the chief product officer, the chief technology officer, and I've yet to run a business that there's not healthy tension between those two roles. And candidly, as a CEO, that tension to me is a great check and balance that makes sure that we're getting the right things. But talk to me a little bit about your viewpoint on how product and tech works together in a private equity environment.
Absolutely. And Haley, I'll start here, but I love your point of view to jump in. We can't have this conversation without at least calling out the reality that there are chief product and technology officers. There are individuals that hold both roles. Sometimes that's based on the maturity of the business, the maturity of the technology, where they need one person leading both sides of it. They exist. There are many at scale as well. But those are certainly the minority. But the relationship, as you've already called out, between the product leadership and the technology leadership is very much a symbiotic relationship where the roadmap and identification of new opportunities, new technology that's going to either open up, steal market share, or rationalize a complex portfolio of products. The relationship between that product leader and the technology leader, you can't have one without the other. You have to, the product can't come to life without the technology team understanding the best practices and leveraging best practices in bringing those capabilities to life. The age-old question of build versus buy, that's the CTO's world. And the CPO is going to certainly weigh in on where products should go. The CTO is going to bring it to life. That organization is going to bring it to life in a way that it helps balance the aspirations of a product roadmap with the reality of technology and what's going to be reliable to the customer. Haley, any reaction to that thought?
Yeah, I agree. And I think more than anything this year, to go back to your earlier point, I think 2024 has been the year of the CPTO, the Chief Product and Technology Officer. And we have several clients coming to us asking, hey, do you see this out there in the market? What's your opinion? Have you seen it be successful? And it still is a newer title and a newer way to organize the product and technology organization. But we have seen it be really effective with clients that need to move fast and make tough decisions very quickly. To roll those decisions up under one leader just enables that enables them to do that in a much more effective way.
And the key there, of course, because it really talks about speed of decision making, speed of execution. You have some cost optimization as well. The big piece there is making sure you do have the right person, because where I've seen that get wrong is you misvoice a customer. And so while you get that speed, you may not be hitting the customer needs. And so it's something really important to make sure you got the right leader that can take on both those roles within the organization. As we think about that, CPTO or the product leader, the tech leader, what does having the right one mean to a private equity investment?
I mean, it's everything as far as the sales and marketing. The entire commercial organization is leaning on the foundation of their product in the SaaS world of, how are we going to capture our customers? How are we going to retain our customers? All of that has to be rooted in that foundation of technology. And one of the questions that Haley and I ask right out of the gate when we're talking to a new client is, where's growth coming from? Is it expansion of an installed base and they need to leverage more of the current technology, or there's new capabilities that will retain them and expand them in their already installed? Way cheaper to keep that customer than it is to find a new one. Or are we going to go create something in a new white space or a new competitive space where we're going to capture market share from a behemoth? You don't really know. So that's one of those questions that we bring to the table right away, because it's a different profile. The CPO and CTO team that's going to expand a well-established install base is different than the person that's going to go after, or the team that's going to go after a new market or a tightly competitive market. And so that's one aspect of the growth quotient that's going to be really important for the investors, certainly. Haley, any thought there?
Yeah, and I think specifically as it relates to CTOs, I often think about they are usually owning one of the largest organizations in the company, if not the largest. So that the CTO who has seen the pattern recognition and understands the offshoring model, understands how to organize and hire their teams effectively, is really critical when it comes time to move towards an exit and getting the right people in the right places.
No, absolutely. And look, I mean, getting the right leader in either one of these roles or the combined roles is mission critical to investment success. As we often talk about, it's worse to make the wrong hire than no hire at all. But at the end of the day, you got to make a hire because the clock is ticking. Time is money. The faster we get the person in seat, the faster we get execution, the faster we get returns, which I think really plays to our strength at Bespoke Partners, where we focus on software all day, every day. You all focus on product and tech roles all day, every day. So can you talk a little bit about how that manifests in this advanced scoring we do to kick off a client engagement?
And I think you hit on it, Eric. The experience of doing this rep over and over again for our clients. Every search is different. Every search has its nuances, of course.
Or Bespoke Partners, of course. But
that's right. That's right. Appropriate
expertise.
That's right. And so when we dive in with a new client or a client we've worked with in different capacities over the years, that diving into the needs assessment and being able to list the must-haves and nice-to-haves of a role is really important to scorecard a potential profile for this client. And what we see time and time again is this more general manager commercial side of things, or the ability to experience with M&A, and not all those things are equal. So we have to dive into the next layer of questioning and to really understand it, because going out to the market and understanding the right profile for the right culture, for the right moment in the investment thesis for any particular portfolio company, that's critical. So that scoring is really a big part of our bread and butter.
No, absolutely. And Haley, you and I recently worked on a search together around a technology officer for a private equity firm where we've done over 100 searches. And what's really cool about that is our ability to really understand what the private equity firm is looking for in that athlete and tailoring that. You want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Sure. So yeah, I think the ability to leverage the processes that we have been through with that client several times over at this point, and specifically even within the technology function, being able to leverage scorecards and just knowing the DNA of that sponsor and what makes a really effective executive for them is critical. And as we shift from portco to portco, it's understanding the leadership team within that portco and, you know, in some cases kind of stepping out of the scorecard a bit, because we really have to measure the cultural aspects as well. We have to be able to match the EQ and the culture dynamics of that specific portco. So oftentimes it goes beyond the scorecards that we've created to really dig in and spend time with the teams and be able to capture, you know, some of those nuances that may not be in a scorecard.
100%. And that's what I like to say. It's the difference between having a qualified executive and the right executive to achieve that investment thesis, which makes all the difference in the world in a successful exit. Look, I mean, this was an amazing conversation, just getting an update on product and tech and where the trends are headed. And I think it just exacerbates the need to select the right search partner in these times where the labor market is so tight. Time is of the essence, and getting someone who focuses on software all day, every day, and product and tech all day, every day is going to make the difference. So guys, I really appreciate all you're doing for the organization, our clients, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Good to see you.
Have a great day.